Today we are going to learn the most important features of our ViewCube. It is a tool that is very useful for navigating our 3D models and navigating our views in general. So let's get to it. While in one of the previous videos I have mentioned that it is not the best way to rotate because a lot of people, once they start out, they use ViewCube by clicking on it and then rotating. What this does is it allows us to rotate around the center of the project. It is not a good way to rotate, and as I have mentioned before, the best way to rotate is simply clicking on one element, clicking on Shift on your keyboard, and then clicking on the pan of your mouse, and then simply rotating while the pan is clicked. This gives us the very precise rotation, and it is the most efficient way of rotating. And to me, what I use this rotation cube for the most is actually choosing the angles of my rotation. If I do want to see this building frontally, I will then click on front. And as you can see, it gives us the precise elevation in our 3D view. I can also turn around to any of these other sides and simply click on them, and what it will give us is this perfect elevation in 3D view. This also applies to the corners. As you can see, if I click on this corner, for example, I also see the corner. And we can also click the small corners and they will also show us this view. The corners are not useful that often, but we can use them nevertheless, and they know how to be useful in some situations. Also, when you right-click on the ViewCube, you also get some other options. You can, for example, save this view once you click on it, and once you apply the name, it will appear in the 3D views option. Another option is whether you want this to be orthographic or perspective. By default, it's orthographic, but you can also choose perspective and then turn this view to the perspective view. As you can see now, we have changed it, and we can also rotate it the same way we did before, and this way we see this building in the perspective. Other options we have are these options that are set front to view, reset front, show compass, and set current view as home. If you want to set some front, you can choose any of these elevations basically to be what is considered the frontal view. You can also reset this and change the frontal view whenever you want. But the main options that are the most useful here are these three ones. You can basically choose any of the views you want to set up your 3D view. It means, for example, here I have the architectural plan, and let's just open, for example, the ground floor plan. So once I go back to 3D, I can simply right-click again, and then I go to Orient to view. I can choose, for example, floor plan and choose my ground floor plan. Let's just find it. Here it is. It's ground floor, and basically what happens is that we get the 3D view of this ground floor plan. I can also turn it around, and what I can see is all of the elements from that plan view which we previously had. It's a very useful tool to create the 3D views from our floor plans. We can also do it for the sections. Let's just go to some section, let's say section 1, and this gives us the 3D view of the exact section we have. And this is the most useful feature of the navigation cube because it enables us to access this section through the 3D view, and then we can see some issues we are facing once we are doing these sections, and it has many other ways to use this. Other than sections, plans, and elevation, you can also orient towards some direction, which is something you already have in this built-in cube, but you can also orient to a plane. If you have some reference planes that you have previously created, you can use them to orient your 3D view towards them. You can also choose some grids or some level. Let's say, for example, I want to orient toward grids C and click OK. And now I see basically the 3D view of the section in the C grid. And this is also very useful. I use this option a lot. And this is pretty much all there is to a ViewCube. If you like my videos, like and subscribe. I post them every couple of days. And thank you for watching. Bye.